Marcus Bennett sat alone in the corner booth of Romano's, the city's most expensive Italian restaurant. His gray suit was perfectly pressed. His watch cost more than most people's cars. But his dark eyes held no warmth as he checked the time for the third time in 5 minutes. This was the last one. The very last blind date his mother would ever arrange for him. At 35 years old, Marcus had built an empire. His technology company employed thousands of people. His name appeared in business magazines. His penthouse apartment overlooked the glittering city skyline. He had everything money could buy, and he wanted none of what it couldn't. Love, his mother's favorite word. She said it with such hope, such gentle insistence, that Marcus could never quite refuse her completely. Just one more, she had pleaded last Tuesday over lunch. Just give this one a real chance, Marcus. For me. So here he sat, waiting for another carefully selected stranger. Another woman who would see his expensive watch first and his actual face second. Another evening of polite conversation that felt like a business transaction. The restaurant hummed with quiet chatter. Candles flickered on white tablecloths. A piano played somewhere in the background, soft notes floating through the warm air like whispered secrets. Marcus poured himself water from the crystal pitcher and took a slow sip. His phone buzzed with work emails, but he ignored them. His mother had made him promise. A real chance, she had said. That meant his full attention for at least 1 hour. The door opened, letting in a breath of cool autumn air. Marcus glanced up out of habit, then looked again. The woman who entered wore a simple blue dress, nothing designer or flashy. Her brown hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She carried a worn canvas bag over one shoulder. She looked around the restaurant with wide eyes, clearly out of place among the crystal and silk. She walked directly to his table. Marcus? She asked, her voice uncertain. Yes. He stood automatically, years of trained politeness taking over. You must be Emma. I am. She smiled, but it was nervous. Sorry I'm a little late. The bus took longer than I expected. The bus. Marcus tried to remember the last time he had been on public transportation. He couldn't. They sat down across from each other. The waiter appeared immediately, hovering with menus and practiced enthusiasm. Emma took hers with both hands, holding it carefully as if it might break. Have you been here before? Marcus asked, already knowing the answer. No. Emma's eyes scanned the menu, and he saw her lips move slightly as she read the prices. Actually, I looked it up online. The reviews are amazing. There was a long pause. Emma set down her menu and folded her hands on the table. Listen, I should be honest with you right away. I almost didn't come tonight. Marcus felt a flicker of something. Curiosity, maybe. Why? Because I'm not really this. She gestured around the restaurant. I'm a kindergarten teacher. I live in a studio apartment with a cat named Toast. I buy my clothes at thrift stores. Your mother is friends with my aunt, and she was so insistent that we meet, but I think there's been some kind of mistake. Marcus found himself leaning forward slightly. What kind of mistake? We're from different worlds, Emma said simply. I can see that already. And that's okay. We can have a nice dinner, tell your mother and my aunt that we tried, and then go back to our normal lives. No hard feelings. She said it with such genuine kindness that Marcus felt something crack open inside his chest. A small fissure in walls he had built very carefully over many years. What if we just had dinner? He heard himself say. No expectations. No pressure. Just two people eating food and talking. Emma studied his face for a long moment. Then she smiled, and this time it reached her eyes. Okay. That sounds nice. They ordered. Emma chose the cheapest pasta on the menu despite Marcus's quiet insistence that she could order anything she wanted. When the food arrived, they began to talk. At first, the conversation was careful. Polite. But somewhere between the appetizers and the main course, something shifted. Emma told him about her students. About a little boy named Jamal who had learned to tie his shoes that morning and cried with pride. About a girl named Sophie who brought her pet rock to show and tell every single Friday. She spoke with her whole face, her eyes lighting up, her hands moving to illustrate. Marcus found himself telling her things he hadn't talked about in years. About how he had started his company in a garage apartment. About the first time he had eaten ramen for 30 days straight because he couldn't afford anything else. About his mother, who had believed in him when he had nothing but an idea and stubborn determination. She sounds wonderful, Emma said softly. She is. Marcus took a sip of wine. She worries about me though. Thinks I work too much. Thinks I'm lonely. Are you? Emma asked. Lonely. The question hung in the candlelit air between them. Marcus considered lying, offering the smooth answer he always gave. But something about Emma's open, honest face made him want to tell the truth. Yes, he said quietly. I think I am. Emma nodded slowly. Me too, sometimes. It's strange, isn't it? You can be surrounded by people all day and still feel alone. Yes. Marcus looked at her across the table. Really looked at her. At the freckles across her nose. At the small scar on her chin. At the way she twisted her napkin when she was thinking. Exactly like that. They talked through dessert. They talked while the restaurant slowly emptied around them. They talked until the waiter politely mentioned that the kitchen was closing. Outside, the October air was crisp and cool. The city lights sparked against a dark sky. Marcus stood with Emma on the sidewalk, suddenly unsure of what to do next. Thank you for dinner, Emma said. I had a really nice time. Much nicer than I expected, honestly. Me too. Marcus surprised himself by meaning it completely. Emma started to turn toward the bus stop, then paused. Can I ask you something? Of course. When you look at me, what do you see? The question was direct, vulnerable. Marcus thought about all the women he had dated before. Women who saw his money, his status, his usefulness. Women who wanted the idea of him rather than the reality. I see someone real, he said slowly. Someone who cares about small victories and remembers names. Someone who chose the cheap pasta because she didn't want to take advantage of a stranger's politeness. Someone who tells the truth even when a lie would be easier. Emma's eyes glistened in the streetlight. That's a nice answer. It's a true answer. Marcus found himself stepping closer. Can I ask you something now? Yes. What do you see when you look at me? Emma tilted her head, considering. I see someone who's very good at hiding. Someone who built walls so high he forgot there was a door. But I also see someone who remembers being hungry. Someone who loves his mother. Someone who's tired of being alone even though he's surrounded by people. She saw him. Actually saw him. Marcus felt that crack in his chest widen. I'd like to see you again, he said. Not because my mother arranged it. Not because of any obligation. Just because I want to. Emma smiled. I'd like that too. They exchanged phone numbers. Marcus offered to drive her home, but she refused gently, saying she liked the bus ride at night when the city was quiet. He watched her walk to the bus stop, her canvas bag bouncing against her hip, her simple blue dress standing out among the evening crowds. His phone buzzed. A text from his mother. How did it go? Marcus typed back. I think she changed my life. 3 dots appeared, then, the girl or the date. Both, Marcus wrote. He stood on that sidewalk for a long time after Emma's bus pulled away. The city moved around him, thousands of people rushing to thousands of places. For the first time in years, Marcus didn't feel separate from it all. He felt part of something larger, something connected. His phone buzzed again. This time, it was Emma. Thank you for seeing me, the text said. The real me. Marcus smiled, his fingers moving quickly across the screen. Thank you for seeing me too. The autumn wind picked up, rustling leaves along the sidewalk. Marcus turned toward home, but something felt different. The city lights seemed warmer. The air seemed fresher. His steps seemed lighter. He thought about Emma's students, about Toast the cat, about thrift store dresses and bus rides. He thought about how much life existed in the spaces between his meetings and his spreadsheets and his carefully constructed empire. Tomorrow, he decided, he would call her. Not to plan another expensive dinner, but to ask if she wanted to get coffee. Regular coffee, from a regular place, where they could talk about regular things. And maybe, just maybe, he would tell her about the man he used to be. The hungry, determined, hopeful man who had built something from nothing. The man who had forgotten how to be vulnerable, how to be seen, how to let someone in. The man who had agreed to one last blind date and found the thing he hadn't known he was looking for. Not someone to complete him or fix him or save him. Just someone real, sitting across a table, telling the truth in the candlelight.